Franklin County Schools.
Welcome to WFCS Radio, the Good News Franklin County Schools podcast. I am your host, Dwayne McIntosh, and we have three very special ladies here today from Louisburg High School. The Good News Franklin County Schools podcast was created to share the amazing work taking place in our district as we highlight all things inspirational, uplifting, and all together good. And I don't think there's anything else that's going on good right now other than Louisburg High School. Ladies, welcome to the show today. How are you doing?
Great. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. So from my right to left, I have Miss Thomas, principal of Louisburg High School, Morgan Wammock, a teacher at Louisburg High School, and Kathy Harrison, teacher as well. Ladies, would you please just take a second, introduce yourself, tell me a little bit about your educational background, what got you into education, how did you get to this point here today? Any of you can go first.
All right, I'll go. I graduated from UNCW in 2014 with a bachelor's in psychology. And I had every intention of going to be a psychologist.
Okay.
And I applied at lots of different places, couldn't get my foot in the door anywhere. And I was like, well, there was an open teaching position at Hawley Middle School in Granville County. And I was like, all right, let me give this a try. They're probably not even going to hire me, but we'll give it a go. They hired me. I was scared to death. I was teaching middle schoolers. And I walked in on the first day. I've never been more afraid of anything in my entire life, and I fell in love with it that first day, and I knew that I was supposed to be there.
Wow.
So I never, pursued psychology after that, but I get to do plenty of it every day in class.
That's
so
right.
I love my job. I continued my education. I got my teaching license through ECU a couple of years ago.
Okay.
So, that was a super easy experience as well, and just teaching, loving it.
So how many years have you been teaching high school now?
This is my third year teaching high school and my seventh year in education altogether.
Oh, altogether. So 7 years overall. Give it up. Give it up. All right. Who's next?
So I'm Kathy Harrison, and I am not from North Carolina. I went to Louisiana State University, and I didn't know what I wanted to do at first, but then since I didn't know what to do, I kind of swerved into education. And I have a Bachelor's of Science in Secondary English education with a minor in mathematics. So my first 3 years of teaching, which were in Wake County, because I moved to North Carolina to teach, my first 3 years of teaching in North Carolina were at East Wake High School, and I was teaching English, 10th grade English, and I hated it, and I quit teaching, and I said I would never teach again. Mm-hmm. And so then over time I began to realize what I basically figured out is that every profession has things that are positive and every profession has things that are negative.
That's right.
And I might as well start swerving back into where I had my degree in. So I came back into education. I taught at a private school, and then I started in this county teaching at Bunn Middle School.
Okay.
But this time I made the important choice to teach math because that was my minor, and so it's been math ever since.
What made you make that switch? That's a big switch, like English to math.
It's a big switch, and there are two things, if I'm being completely honest.
Of course.
I didn't like grading English papers at all, and I love to read, but I did not like grading the English papers, and I would watch those math teachers. They'd walk out of the building at a normal hour because grading math was easier. So that was kind of my incentive, but I love math, and I love teaching mathematics. I love teaching Math 1 at Louisburg High School.
And you're great at it.
Thank you. I just, over time, I just realized this is my niche.
Yes.
And this is what I'm good at, and this is what I love to do.
That's awesome. Sometimes, we can be in the right place and in the wrong position sometimes. I started out family and consumer sciences.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Teaching a home ec course,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was, but definitely not where I was supposed to be, but definitely still in the profession. So kudos to you for that. That's awesome. That's awesome. And Ms. Thomas?
Well, first off, thank you for having me. I am Miss Thomas, Melissa Thomas, principal at Louisburg High School. I did not start out to be in education. I wanted to be in business and accounting. And as I was pursuing that, I realized it was boring and that I needed to do something different. So I ended up getting my education degree and started teaching in Arkansas. And I taught there for 8.5 years. Absolutely loved it. Loved teaching, loved every part about it.
Did you teach math?
No, I taught business.
Okay. I was a business teacher as well. Yeah,
I taught business. I actually taught networking, how to take computers apart and put them together, how to put a network together. I could cable. I could do all of that stuff.
That's cool.
It was cool, but it changes constantly. Mm-hmm. And so when I moved to North Carolina in 2001, I started teaching in Wake County and was teaching straight business and loved that too. But I had administrators try to talk to me about getting into administration. Okay. And I was not for it. So I did my national boards instead. That was good. And then they continued to say, why don't you get into administration? So I finally decided to get my master's just for the master's pay because at the time you got paid. But as I did it, I fell in love with administration. And so I did that there for a while, and this is my 5th year.
I'll put a pause if those don't know. This is also our reigning principal of the year for the district for Franklin County Schools as well.
You.
So for those admin who were pushing you, I guess you can say they were right.
Yes, thank goodness for them.
I appreciate that, yes.
Right.
This is my 5th year at Louisburg High School, and I could not be happier.
That's awesome. So great job, ladies. Awesome background. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. The great elephant in the room is that Louisburg High School is now, according to the new ratings that came out from the state, is a B school. Mm-hmm. Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
We definitely have to give it up for that. And so,
very excited about that.
So I know when, whatever metric you use to do those ratings, it can be changed. But regardless of those, how the rating has come about, you can look into the data and see the growth, see the changes, things that happen, and that's not something that happens overnight. So what are some of the things from an admin perspective, from a teacher perspective, that the last few years that you can maybe attribute to this rating, to this growth, to being here today? What do you think?
I'll start as principal. It did not happen overnight. It was a process of me getting to know the teachers getting to know me, us having a continuous conversation about what does it look like to help kids succeed, what does it look like to help kids grow, what can we do better, because even though we're a B school, we're still not there yet. We still have room for improvement. And just maintaining high expectations. And I think over time, even through COVID, I kept telling staff, COVID's going to end, and these kids are still going to have to walk out our door, and they're still going to have to be prepared for jobs and for college and whatever it is they want to do. And so we still have to push them and teach them so that they are able to do those things. And I'm just grateful because the whole staff worked really hard and kept pouring into kids. And yes, it was challenging, but I think our staff ultimately believed in kids and believed in that vision.
That's good.
And so I think we were able to move.
I do remember that now. I had kind of forgotten about it. When we were going through COVID, she was like, we're still going to have to test these students. We're still going to have to treat it like the professionals that, we're going to have to do what we need to do. And so she never really let us completely drop the ball. I mean, we all knew that what we were dealing with was different, but we didn't just quit because it was COVID times. That's a really good. I had kind of forgotten about that.
That's awesome. So regardless of the circumstances and the times, the expectations remain the same, but you maybe had to adjust how you met those expectations, but
correct.
You didn't let that down. That's awesome.
Right.
That's awesome.
We showed a lot more grace, but we still had high expectations.
And I was going to mention that you have always had high expectations of us, but Ms. Thomas is very empathetic, and she's very compassionate, and she understands when we're going through a hard time. And I have had a principal who micromanaged us, who stood over us all the time. We didn't have any autonomy in our classrooms. And I've had the exact opposite, and that was horrible. The teachers kind of did whatever they wanted to do. And now I think we're at a place where our admin holds teachers and students to a high standard, while still letting us do our jobs and be bosses of our own classrooms and have power in our classrooms and teach the way that feels right for us. Yeah. Yeah. So it feels really good to feel supported in my classroom as an individual and feel like I do have that autonomy and discretion to teach how I see fit. But I know she's got my back, and I know that I do have to do my job and do it well, or else she's gonna come knocking.
That's a great point. What does that look like? I don't know if you're able to explain that or not, but what does that look like, having a high expectation but still having that autonomy, like you said? Is that more like just a conversation saying, hey, we need to make sure this is taken care of? Or
Yeah, so I think we have a lot of conversation through leadership and through SIP about what we want to accomplish for our students and for our school and our staff, and then have some concrete ideas about maybe what that should look like. And the expectations are there, and I communicate that a lot. But the bottom line is they're professionals. All of our staff are professionals, and I trust them to be the professionals that they are. And I think and I tell them all the time too, if you set the bar really high, that's where the kids are going to try to achieve. Same thing with staff. But if you set it low, that's where they're going to go as well. So
y'all dropping nuggets today. Dropping nuggets. I love it. I love it. Did you want to add anything to that?
I was just going to say that Morgan said it perfectly, how I feel supported and how that frees me to be the teacher that I am, not what somebody else is expecting me to be. They're not, she's not, Ms. Thomas is not saying, I want you to be successful, but I want you to do it in this particular way. She lets me teach like I teach.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh, no. I completely agree. And that it makes it easy to love your job when you can kind of do your own thing and it feels right.
And I want to say something too. I know that they're saying a lot of really wonderful things, but for me, when I'm out of the building, I'm out of the building and I'm okay, because I know that my staff is handling business. I know that my administrative team is handling business, and I don't worry. I know that they're professionals.
That's
I know
awesome.
that they have the best interest of the students.
I know it's a
in
great
mind.
feeling.
Yeah, and so I can go to a conference like the law conference I recently went to, and know that I can check in at the end of the day and see what's going on, and that if something major comes up, they're going to let me know. But I know that my students and my staff are in good hands, because I feel like they are professionals, and I feel like they also have each other's backs.
This is good, folks. This is good. So, ladies, teachers, tell me how that translates to the classroom, or what are some attributes or characteristics that you may be taken from Ms. Thomas, or maybe of your own, that you've developed that helped your students meet those expectations or grow to the point where they are today?
We have common assessments in Math 1 that have been developed, and they're very rigorous. And so that sets a high expectation right there. And I don't dumb down the test, because we've been given what we need to accomplish, let's say. And then, so that's the high expectation. Mm-hmm. But I don't imagine that they're going to all come in and immediately be at that thing. There's a whole range of things that have to happen where they come in at to get them there. Mm-hmm. So we have the high expectation, but we're supporting them, of course, with the teaching, with the practice, with the grace, where, okay, maybe we didn't do so well on that. Let's learn it, let's come at it from another angle. And that's how we kind of move them up. And when they don't succeed, we don't judge. We just kind of, how are we gonna get there?
Gotcha. Okay.
And I know you're the same way, because we've had this conversation before, but I believe in my kids, all of them. Do I think that all of them are going to go to a 4-year college and graduate and do it? Maybe not. But I know all of them get through high school. I know that they can be a successful member of society. I know they have something to offer. I truly believe that I believe in them. I believe they're good at something. So I get to know them. They get to know me. I try to be as transparent as I can, and of course still remain professional. And we build kind of a family culture in our classroom. And I treat them in the same way that I treat my own child. I have my expectations, like you mentioned, and those aren't changing. So don't tell me you can't do it. Don't tell me you won't do it, because you are going to do it. But it's from a place of love. They know that I genuinely love them and I care about them and I want them to succeed. So I'm not taking an excuse, because they can do it.
That's good. That's wonderful. That's awesome. That's awesome. So I was a high school teacher once, and we were you guys were talking about this a little bit off air before we started. And there's sometimes when, and difference also from, in the COVID to now, and some of the things and the expectation the kids, not expectations from you as a teacher, but kids' expectations of themselves. Can you talk about that a little bit? Some of the things you guys were mentioning earlier about there are some challenges and how you deal with those.
I would love to start, because I've talked about this to my family, to my friends, to everybody, about the change that I have seen this year. Coming back in, it feels so much more normal. It feels like school before COVID. The kids are actually coming to school. They're trying. They realize they're not going to be able to get away with whatever, skipping, coming late. We're not having that. And even discussing with some other teachers, our school has implemented 2 things this year that I think has really, really helped us. One is we have a pretty strict tardy policy. So we have sweepers who, during our planning period, it's only 10 minutes. But at the start of our planning period, anyone who has, I have 4th period planning, I stand out in the halls. Any kids who are late have to get a pass to get back in the class. So a spreadsheet is accumulated from that. Very little work on our end. Admin, I know that y'all probably have to deal with that.
We do.
But that way you're able to sort by last name and see, hey, so-and-so was late to 4th period every day. What is going on? Are you trying to get from the freshman building to the gym? Or are you hanging out with your friend in the bathroom?
That's good.
And you can figure that out quickly. So from the first day of school till
you
today,
have the data to aggregate
I have
it.
no tardies anymore, because the
Wow.
kids, you actually hear them say, I gotta go. And they'll start sprinting towards their class, because
Wow.
they're like, hey, this is serious. And the other thing is the cell phone policy.
Goosebumps. I'm excited. That's good. I love it.
The cell phone policy, that has been the biggest change. We were not given one cell phone policy school-wide, but we were told that we have to have, as teachers, an explicit cell phone policy. You have to talk about it. The kids know what you're doing every day when you come in. Miss Harrison and I think, have different policies. Mine is a little more laid back in that I tell you no phones. That's all there is to it. I don't take them, but, at first. But if I see you with a phone, I say, hey, ma'am, put your phone up. If I see it again, I'll take it and put it on my desk. When you're leaving on your way out, you grab it and head out. If I have to get it again, I'm calling mom. It's going to be a thing. I have not gotten to that point yet. I've not gotten past a warning yet. So
That's good.
I think because every single teacher, they know this in every single classroom, phones aren't going to be a thing. So they're paying attention. They're making better grades. The stuff isn't so boring because they actually get it now. Because they're not in TikTok the whole time. They're listening.
That's good. That's good.
I was going to say that definitely part of the cultural difference this year has been about some of the policies that are in place. And so I have to give lots of credit to Ms. Thomas for saying, at the end of last year, we had as teachers, we were tired of fighting tardies. We were tired of fighting the cell phone thing. So we already knew going in that we were going to do something to change that. And it definitely, they would know last year, they could know they were late, and they didn't put any pep in their step because they didn't care. There was no real, and part of the reason they didn't care is because we didn't really, it was part of that COVID grace time, and we weren't really as, but now it's over. Now it's like, we're back to school. Things are as normal as we can make them this year. And it is a beautiful thing to see a child hustle to class because
Like we used to have to.
And I think part of the reason, I do have a stricter policy where my kids, I have a little organizer, and they put their phones in the organizer at the front of the room. And they don't touch them until we're packing up to go. And I think that the reason that works for me is that I've never even have to give a warning, because they know that if they didn't put a phone up there and they pull it out, it's going up there, and so they never even pull it out. So I haven't even had to give a warning.
And that is so nice that I get to do what's comfortable for me.
Right.
And she gets to do what's comfortable for her, and it works for both of us.
And it works for the school because we're all equally enforcing it, even though we may have a different, sort of policy.
Yes.
That's good. That's good. We both mentioned culture a little bit. Ms. Thomas, can you talk about how many years has it been at Louisburg High?
This is my fifth.
Fifth in five years so far. So what were some of the things, if you remember, putting in place to build this culture? Because it sounds like you guys have I can just picking up just from the conversation, you have a united front, a trust among staff. Everybody's pulling their weight to make things run. That doesn't happen overnight. What were some of the things you've done to build this culture and get buy-in from your staff like you have?
So I think a couple of things is that first year, was trying to get to know staff, get to know what the cultural issues were, how can we address it. And I think part of it is listening to staff. It's hard to get people to buy into something if they didn't have a part in it. And so I think listening to staff, supporting staff, trying to show empathy when empathy needs to be shown, and grace. But really, I think we've kind of built a family culture. And I think that's it. And Morgan talked about that in her classroom. But I think as a school, we are more like a family. And I love my family.
Yeah.
And family's not always going to agree.
Right.
But when it comes down to it, family is family, and family will stick together. And I think that's part of it, is trying to build that type of a culture. And part of it is treating them as professionals and trusting them. And then, I'll be fair, they trust me. And so I think that has a lot to do with it. And just even the cell phone and the tardies came out of the teachers' frustration. I mean, administration was dealing with it too. But it resolved a lot of things. It kept things from happening that shouldn't be with cell phones. It gives a lot more time for academics and for actual instruction and student learning, and that's been really nice. Getting them in class and out of the hallways puts them in class where they're actually going to learn, and I think it's just made a big difference. But I feel like we're a team, and I feel like my school is a team, and we are a family, and we care about one another, and I think that's why they do the things they do.
That's good.
And I don't go around checking on them. They handle business. That's
good. I'm loving this today. I'm loving this. Bringing that back now, going back to when you learned of you guys becoming a B school, what was your initial reactions, emotions, where you were kind of reflecting on where you were? Was it motivation to do better moving forward? What was that for each of you?
So I can tell you, for me, I wanted to cry.
Oh, wow.
I did. I mean, I knew that our scores on ELCs were good. I knew we had done some stuff, but I was not expecting a B. I really wasn't. And so I literally wanted to cry. And then I was like, oh my God, I can't tell anybody. So
that was killing it.
And that was hard, because I wanted to go through the hallways and do cartwheels, and because I was so excited. Because I was so proud of my staff and proud of my students, because the students put in the work to make all this happen. And so then I had to be quiet and couldn't say anything. And so I was like, oh, how do I plan a celebration without them catching on that we're planning a celebration? Wow. So just overjoyed
and
so proud.
Not to have caught on. I did not catch on.
But when we had our celebration, when she told us, I could tell, when she walked in, she was about to burst.
I was.
Excitement. We were like, what is going on in here?
I woke up that morning going, oh my God, I get to tell them today. I was so excited.
That's awesome.
And so proud.
And she started with, we exceeded growth, and that is something near and dear to my heart.
Oh yes,
because we don't always get everybody at the same level. So that means more to me as a teacher, that we took them from where they were and we grew the heck out of them. So that's that. So I was whooping, and then whenever I was kind of stunned about the B, because I've been at Louisburg for a long time, and I don't remember us ever having a B before. So that is amazing to me. And it's amazing, like you said, not just, sure, it feels good as a teacher, but I'm so excited about it for the Louisburg community, for the students, because that can only benefit the school. And if it benefits the school, it's going to benefit them. They're going to have better options. A charter school, a parent who may be sending their kid to a charter school, and they look at Louisburg High School has a B, why wouldn't they send their kid to us instead of the charter school?
That's right.
And we have good kids.
We do have good kids.
I feel like, and this was back when I was in high school, so I don't know if that perception is the same because I'm so biased and I tune out anything negative about Louisburg. But
Hey, I'm with you on that.
there was kind of a misconception back when I went to Louisburg High School that, that's kind of Louisburg, where you don't want to go. So I feel so proud that we are a B school because I'm like, yeah, you can see we have awesome kids. We have great kids. They're smart. They're well behaved. We have good teachers. We have good admin. And we all work together to make this thing happen. But we have incredible kids, and I'm so proud of them.
So,
And I agree with her. Our kids are incredible.
And they always have been.
And they have. And
Yeah.
I mean, since my first day there, I was so impressed with our kids when I first got to the school and have been ever since. I mean, I love our kids, and I think they're wonderful. I think they are hardworking. Do they make mistakes? Yes, they're kids.
absolutely.
But in general, they're really good kids, and this community should be and can be so proud of what they've accomplished.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We're going to give a round of applause for that. So bringing this all together, Morgan, you mentioned when you were in school there, and then you guys are B school now, and then looking forward to the future, becoming a STEM magnet
Yes,
school.
Yep.
Can we just briefly spend a few seconds and talk about the outlook now, where you guys are going from here? This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, we've had a Magnet Academy for 5 or 6 years now, and honestly, it's done very well.
Yes.
Our STEM teachers have done a really good job of implementing STEM and STEM activities and things of that nature, and teaching the engineering design process. And it's just growing that program and giving other students in the district the opportunity to come to Louisburg High School and be a part of that magnet program and have transportation provided, because we've had kids want to come before, but they could not provide their own transportation. I think it's a good opportunity for this school, and it's a good opportunity for this community. We're still Louisburg High School, and we're going to remain strong in our traditions, and we are so proud of Louisburg High School. But now we're just opening up some doors of opportunities that really are going to open up opportunities for our students in the long run. And so I think it's a great thing for our school.
That's right. That's right. We're going to give it up. We're going to give it up. All right. So we're going to shift gears just a little bit to finish out this episode for today. All right. We got a little activity, a little game I like to call Would You Rather?
Would you rather?
And during this, I'll ask you a simple question. You can just tell me which one you would rather do. And if you care to, please give us a little explanation. All right. So here we go. First one. All right. Would you rather read the book or watch the movie?
Read the book.
Just quick. She said, I know. Read the book.
I actually just came out of a meeting where we were discussing this. I would rather read the book and then go watch the movie. So.
Okay.
I was going to say the same thing, but opposite. My wife is a huge reader.
Okay.
And I'm so into movies and
Okay.
TV shows. So I like comparing them, but I always like the book better. I do like the book better, but I'm so visual. I like movies and shows.
Yeah.
If I read the book first, the movie will never be as good.
You're right.
You're right. You're right.
So you're totally right. And but now I don't have as much time to read as I used to when I was younger. So sometimes I'm just going to have to make do with the movie because I just don't have the time to read the book.
Hence the podcasts. People don't always have as much time to read the articles, so but you can listen to the podcast on your way
the
to and from
car,
work.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. In the shower, cleaning up. Yeah.
Well, I can't listen to the podcast in the car to work because I got 5 minutes.
Oh.
So,
And I have 45 seconds. I live less than half a mile from Louisburg High School.
Well, next time you're cooking a meal, this is a plug for the Good News Podcast if you didn't know by now.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, thank you for doing this too.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right, question number 2. Would you rather live without electricity or indoor plumbing?
Oh my gosh.
Going back in time a little bit.
Indoor plumbing would be gross, but if I have electricity, I can Oh, I don't.
I would have to say without electricity because I've lived out in the country and had to do without electricity at least temporarily. And I mean, I don't want to have to do it forever, but out in the country, if you lose electricity, you don't have indoor plumbing either. So
We could get the STEM kids to build some kind of
There you
manual
go.
shower, like you step on it like a pump, and
The
get
first
water to come
question
out.
of the new STEM Academy.
Yeah.
How would you fix this problem? No electricity or plumbing? What you going to do?
I think I'm going to go with no electricity. I can open windows and I can grill and I can cook outside, but I need plumbing.
Yeah. I think we're all in the same boat there.
I'll take both. Yep.
Yeah, well, me too.
Absolutely.
I think I'm in this century for a reason.
Yes.
Yes, amen.
Agreed. Amen to that one.
Oh,
Hit the wrong one. We'll hit it again, though. Amen to that one. Last one. Would you rather be a great skateboarder or a great juggler?
Skateboard, that's transportation. I went to UNCW and there were a bunch of like skateboarding dudes down there, and I always was jealous of them because they could get to class in like 2 seconds, and I had to walk the whole time. I'm not very coordinated though.
if I could be a skateboarder, that would be awesome. Because imagine, when those guys do those flips in the air, don't you know that's like flying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
But
looks
I'd ha-
good.
it'd have
It
to-
is a little bit. I can see. Yeah.
But it would have to be like an immediate gift because I ain't going to practice it.
Right. Right.
I was about to say I think skateboarding would be cool, but only if it come with a disclaimer that I'm not going to get hurt.
There we go. There we go.
I do not want to fall while practicing.
I agree with that. Ladies, thank you, all
Thank
three of you.
you.
For,
Well, thank you. Thank
you're
you for
welcome.
having us.
Absolutely, for coming today. This has been awesome, man. I'm glad that others will now get to know some of the great things that's taking place with inside Louisburg High School, the great people you have there, and some of the things you've been doing. Hopefully some others can glean from that and grow as well. So keep up the great work. We are proud of you overall as a district, and personally I'm proud of you and grateful for you. And
Thank you.
You do great things. So
Appreciate it.
So, folks, this has been our episode of the Good News Franklin County Schools podcast. If you're listening on your favorite podcasting app, please like, subscribe. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe and share with a friend. Remember, there is greatness inside of you. Please let it out and spread the good news, everyone.
Inspirational, uplifting, altogether good.
The Good News Franklin County Schools.